Be honest, I have to be honest. Because I promise I'll be honest.
He used to be so racist, but he was black himself. I don't understand that.
But yeah, that's how I got into 3 medical schools out of 4.
I'm gonna be so rude, but it's cool.
Scriptures regarding anger. So, we've touched a little bit about exams, what we found, how we found them in general. So in regards to like exam technique, revision, like, can you give us like 3, beneficial things that you think
worked well for me?
Yeah.
Okay, so firstly, active recall. Like, you need to be going over stuff again and again. Like, for me, the most beneficial, specifically for anatomy, was just going over things again and again and just testing yourself. I think people emphasize it, but I don't think they emphasize it enough how important it is, because by actively recalling it, you're sort of getting your brain to just go through it again and again, and you're strengthening your knowledge. So I think in that sense, stuff that you learn throughout the year, I'm not saying, look over it every day, but making sure every couple of weeks is something you are going through it. It's just so it will benefit you in the long run a lot. I also think teaching other people or like saying stuff out loud really does help. Like, even if it's just your family or like to a group of friends. Like for me, I had like a revision group, and it was just so beneficial, because it's like, by teaching, you're not only consolidating knowledge for yourself, you're helping other people, and like they're putting it in a way that you've never seen it before. So if something's not going right for you, they could explain it and you could just get it like that.
Word.
So I think active recall, teaching or like group sessions, and I guess just not having a timetable, but just sort of planning out what you want to get done when you want to get done. So like for me, I've never been good with timetables, but in my head, if I go, okay, next 3 days I'm going to do pass, and I'm going to do as much as I can at pass, and then after that I'm going to do no more pass, just biology, or like something like that. I think having a timetable and figuring out what you want to do in that time is really useful, just so that you're not being unproductive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with like having like a loose structured timetable is the best thing for me as well, because what I found when I program in like every single day, this is what I need to do, when I don't do it, I get really frustrated and upset with myself. So when I kind of made that decision, like to have a week timetable, and it meant that I would say, okay, these are the type of hours that I want to spend on this during the week. It meant that if I knew that, okay, this week, on Friday, like I'm going out for drinks with my friends, I know that, okay, I need to do more work on Monday then, or I need to do more work on Thursday. Like, it allows you to distribute things more loosely, and therefore you still accomplish the task that you need to get done, but you're not stressed out about the fact that you haven't done what you need to do.
And obviously it's a different case for everyone. Like, I know some people that do have a day-to-day, and if that's what works for you, then go for it. But I feel like definitely have an aim by the end of the week. I want to finish these tasks, whether it's you do it daily, timetable, or weekly, just so that by the end of the week you can say, you know what, I could have had a roller coaster week, but at least I got this done. I got this done, and I can put those to bed. Because it just means you're chipping away a little bit at it every day. And another point, that's 4, sorry.
That's alright.
Do questions, like practice questions. It doesn't matter if it's like questions you make, or if it's questions you find online. There's so many resources, but honestly, questions just really help you to get into the frame of mind of like how the exam's going to be. For us, obviously everything was online, which was difficult because it was difficult to like go in and get resources and things like that. But I think just doing practice questions, consolidate stuff you get right, because I don't know about you, but if I get something wrong, it stays in my head for a really really long time, and I will basically not forget it until I've got it right. So questions are really good for just like highlighting where you need to go and work on. So yeah, I say questions, group revision, organising, and just like active recall.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Those are really good. I feel like you took everything I was going to say. Rude. I'm joking.
My bad. What would you say is one thing that you think like you did, but you couldn't like maybe change up a little bit for next time? Or a common misconception about revision that people think, oh yeah, this is really useful, but actually it's like,
No, it's quite crap. It's quite crap. I would not as much now, but I think when I was younger, I think I didn't know how to tailor things to myself, and I didn't have an understanding of what revision would work best for me. So I was kind of just spending a lot of time like hop, skipping and jumping onto everyone's techniques. And for me, there are some people who use is it the Pomodoro technique, who are like 25 minutes on, 5-minute break, 25 minutes on, 5-minute break, 25, and that works for them because short spurts help them to consolidate their knowledge more. Whereas for me, I'm someone who it's better for me if I like literally just do a full stretch and then take like a long break and then go again. So definitely, just because like something's working for your friends, don't feel like you have to do what they're doing.
Yeah. It's all about, again, something we touched upon in our other videos, but just like finding what works best for you. And it doesn't matter when you find out, as long as you're benefiting along the way. I think what you said was really good. Like, when you're in a time where people are doing things really differently to you, you might feel as though like, oh, I have to do this, or I have to do this, or it's going to work like this. But no, it works differently for everyone. And as long as you just find out what works best for you, you'll be fine.
And don't be stubborn to change. Oh my gosh, I used to be so stubborn. Like once I started something, like I had to complete it that way. And I was like, are you stupid? I really had to ask myself, I was like, so you're going to waste time doing the same thing that's not working for you when you could just change this method? Like aesthetic does not matter.
Also, don't, like, if you do find a technique someone else is using that you really like, but you don't want to change it because you like your technique right now, change it. Like, don't be afraid to, like, you know, ask people what they're doing, you know, figure out different techniques. Like, people are never going to not want to give you help with like how they revise,
especially in med. I think like this year what really saved me is the fact that my group of so I'm in a group where we create notes together. So we each had notes that were assigned to us to make, both in question and answer style and in condensed versions. So that is really what I was using for revision, I'm not gonna lie. And it's so helpful because if you think about it, I remember how many lectures. I think we had about altogether. I had it written down somewhere. I can't remember right now, but definitely well over 100. Definitely well over 100. So how are you going to be able to make notes, good notes for everything? And that's why medicine is such a team sport. And I feel like that really did help me.
It literally, you have to get yourselves over that finish line. If you're, I mean, fair play. If you're the person who feels like, no, I'm in it by myself, I'm going to do it individually. That's fair enough if that works for you. But personally, I need that team support, and I feel like you're right. Like if I have certain groups as well, if I didn't have that this year, I don't think I would have. I'm not gonna lie, Mum. I don't think I would have made it. I would have been finished. And it's okay again to have groups because you learn things when you're in a group, and like you change as a person as well. And got spiritual here. But like sometimes you figure out, you know what, I was doing this, I don't really like it, and that's okay, you know. But it's definitely a team degree, like in the sense that you've got to be there for each other. With revision, with like whatever it is you're doing, don't be afraid to ask for help. Just don't be afraid to ask for help.
Word. And then I have a couple of other things that I think are actually really helpful. So one, this is not a technique, but it's actually very important. Get enough sleep. The reason why is because if you don't sleep enough, you don't actually go properly into your REM state of sleep, and that's when your consolidation of knowledge occurs. So if you're here doing few hours because you want to be watching program at night, you go to bed at 3, you wake up at 7, you're gonna forget so many things. So make sure that you get enough sleep. One technique that I think is really helpful from secondary school days is the red, amber, green system. So red for things that you don't know at all, orange for things that you're not sure about, green for things that you're good on. Because when you're revising, don't spend the same amount of time revising for everything. That's silly. Obviously, you need to spend more time on things that you don't understand. So if you're green, maybe you'll be like, okay, I'll just do a couple of questions to make sure that I'm really green. Orange, I would say, you know, briefly look over your notes and maybe a video if you feel really confused about it. If you're on red, go through it properly, ask friends potentially. You can even email lecturers if you're really that confused about it.
I emailed lecturers being like, excuse me, can you... Even if it's the most simple question, I'd much rather know than go into the exam and be like, oh, I could have asked them that.
I could have asked them that. I knew I was struggling. So split things up like that. Do red, amber, green. And I would say like do it like at the end of each month, kind of like checklist yourself. Medicine and any type of revision, it's about repetition and going over things again and again and again, like Anusha was saying. So make sure that you just keep on going.
Again, don't like neglect a topic either. Just because like you think, oh, I know this, does not mean you shouldn't go over it again. But just like flick through it, you know. Because I feel like even if you do really know it, you still need to like read through and be like, okay, I know this. Or like you said, do some MCQs or like some questions and just be like, okay, fine. Because the thing is, you may know it 3 months ago, but you might not know it now. So you've just got to make sure you're not neglecting anything. Because literally the one thing I've learned this year is they can ask you questions on anything. And that might sound
October
stupid,
to April.
but they can ask you anything, even the smallest word on the slide. So you've got to make sure that you're on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of finicky details where they can change one word and that completely changes the whole meaning of the whole answer. So things like, it's the same thing with when I talked about verbal reasoning before in our past videos. Things like most of the time, all, sometimes, look out for this type of terminology because it will really trick you out because it completely changes what the statement means.
And I just feel like with questions, you just have to get used to the formatting as well. Because like I remember the first time we did that we have like an online system for questions. The first time I did it, I was like, what is going on? I don't even know how to flag up. What is this? But it's like with UCAT, you know, with UCAT you do mocks and then you get used to the format. With exams, like once you've done one, like even the first time you do an online exam, don't worry so much about also what you're doing, but also figure out what it is you're using. Because I feel like if you familiarise yourself with everything, by the time you get to the final exam, you'll be like, yep, done.
Especially with our first one in November, I would say if you end up going to King's, because you get less questions. So basically, that means that you actually have more time to actually spend on the form.
Gave you less questions.
Exactly, to understand like the actual format of how the system works.
Because we had an hour, but they gave us 30 questions because there were things like highlighting, flagging, bookmarking questions, and
crossing answers out.
And if you're bad at tech like me, then it takes half an hour to figure out how to use it. So familiarise yourself with what it is. Similarly, if your exam's in person as well, familiarise yourself with the area where you're going, just so that you don't get, nervous on the day and don't add to the nerves. But yeah, I'd say those are the.
I feel like that's everything.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like there were a lot of good things that we've had in our course as well. I mean, personally for me, I felt like we didn't have exams and I was like really nervous about trying to get through all the content. And even though there is a lot of content, I'm not going to deny that. I feel like with it being online, we eased into a bit more.
Definitely.
And there were definitely some like peaks, like what is going on here. You just went from 0 to 100 real
quick.
But I feel like everyone was in the same boat and it was just like we were all helping each other and it was just like a nice vibe because I feel like, I don't know, if it was in person it might have been different, but with this everyone was literally in the same boat, trying to figure out how to get used to it. So I think that was really useful.
I don't know if it's just it being online or now I'm going to seem like I hated my first degree, and I didn't. I love my first degree. I love the people on my first degree as well. But I felt like it was just so much more of a like family like spirit and community type spirit, because like everyone's been going through it obviously with Auntie Coco Roro like being around, so like people have been really struggling. And I feel like everyone was here for each other. Like I remember when my laptop broke and like I lost my notes, people were messaging me being like, do you want me to send you my notes, like blah blah blah, like, and I don't think you often get that with other degrees and even sometimes with other unis. So I am really happy that like I'm at a university that's really, the people at this university actually seem to like care for each other even though we don't know each other that well.
Like with me, one of the reasons I came to King's was because like the campus vibes were just really really good, and that's the one thing that just hasn't like changed. Like even if I come in now and exams are done, I still get that welcome vibe. I still get that, you are still part of our uni, even first year's over, but you're still here kind of thing. I definitely think, like you said, more of like a community vibe for sure, and I hope that continues to like next year and stuff, because it's going to be really good otherwise.
No, definitely. I mean, there's so much to look forward to in regards to next year. We've touched on like placement and things like that. Obviously,
like
we do
in-person tutorials hopefully, which is insane to even think about because like you can't mute yourself in person.
Honestly, none of this. It's lagging all the time.
Are you taking out notes from my book for?
Me with the tabs, I gave up. Anatomy, I tried at the beginning, but then I said I just have to do tabs. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm tired of embarrassing myself in this class.
Teach Me Anatomy was pulled up on the side, like honestly. This is what I'm going to use. And I also thought it'd just be nice to meet people, because like it's like I don't even think I've met 5% of my year.
No, like I would say, oh my gosh, now I'm gonna sound like a horrible person. There's so many people that I like, but like deep friendships, I'll say it like that. Deep friendships have not managed to form as of yet because of, you know, being online. I live in like Greater London, so like having to like commute that. No, when people are like, I'm in the library, I'm not gonna come in to like be in the library.
No, like with me, it's like
I end up finding people weird. Traveling an hour, it's alright.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. And also it's just like, I don't know, I feel like you've got to be having that consistency of going in every day, or like at least twice a week, 3 times a week, and having a reason to go in.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas like in the beginning of the year we wanted to go in, but they were like, no.
You can.
Sorry. So even if you wanted to,
you couldn't. And even just stuff like I was talking, one of my cousins is in, she's intercalating actually. So she was just like, oh, have you even spent time in Guy's Bar? And I'm like, no, like I've been there once and I hear it's a vibe. Like there's just so many experiences that we haven't had yet. We didn't manage to have our boat party. Like, I was really ready to stunt on people in my dress at the boat party. I was so ready to look fire.
Yeah, but it's okay, it's fine, because we're still gonna have that.
We are gonna still have that.
I still have faith.
I literally have faith in it.
GKT is gonna pull that off. MSA, you better be on it.
Exactly. We're waiting. I'm waiting for the boat party, like, because
As and I will come for you.
At this point, I thought I was just gaining thick thighs at home, like, from this degree, like, honestly, just putting on weight, but it'll be nice to just be able, I think that's the thing that people have missed the most, like the interaction.
Seeing people, because obviously you can go out of your way and meet people in groups, but it's like not the same. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're meeting someone, but it's like you've got to actively be constantly on it. Whereas with uni, you know, like it's with school, like you see someone every day and then you naturally form a bond. Where it's like this one, you can still do that, but it just takes a lot more out of you to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
And going from not talking to anyone to now trying to like talk to like.
Oh my days! I even have to just roll my eyes. It's gonna be strange, but I think
as long as Miss Coco Roro stays away.
Miss Coco Roro has to actually stay away.
Because if she comes back,
I can't. I literally don't even know what I'm gonna do. Anyway, so I'm trying to think. I think that's everything. Like, so that is literally our reflection on first year. What we're looking forward to in second year.
It was a very spiritual session. I feel like we got a lot out.
I do feel like there was a lot. A lot
Thanks for
got out. So thanks for listening, guys. I hope that was helpful. If you have any other questions, like I was gonna say real deep, but like I'm actually not a shrink. Like really, if you have other
charges, 40 quid an hour. So.
Honestly, me, I'm tired of looking after. Anyway, let me shut my mouth because people will start. I don't want to expose. This is not what it is. So. If you have any other questions like about King's or about university in general, like feel free to definitely message us and we can, help you guys out. Or if you're
DMs are always open.
DMs are always open apart from when they're not. Apart from when they're not. But even if you haven't started university yet, and you have questions, or you're at uni and you have questions, basically, if you have questions, holler and we'll get back to you guys.
Similarly, if you want to see any other videos of us doing together, put them in the comments below, and we will definitely
ponder it. I'm joking.
Ponder it.
Probably do it. Yeah.
Probably end up doing it.
Exactly. I feel like we get forced to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But thanks for having me.
No problem. It was wonderful having you again. So we'll be putting links down below.
And we'll be doing another video on my channel, so be sure to check it out.
We will do. So thank you everyone.